How long have you been listening to Bad Crypto? And are you a card-carrying member of the Republic of Bad Cryptopia, or are you brand new to the show? We thought it would be a good time to do a refresher on some blockchain basics. And to help us out, we've invited Peter Kent, author of Cryptocurrency Mining for Dummies, to the show. We think Peter explains blockchain better than we do, so we're going to let him do a lot of talking. And besides, he's British, so his accent is fabulous. Grab your tea and crumpets and belly up to the blockchain. It's episode number 263 of the Bad Crypto Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition.
Who's there?
Joe,
Yes.
I don't really like crumpets.
How about tea?
Tea's okay, but I really don't like crumpets at all.
One lump or two?
I like sweet tea from Southern Sweet Tea. You got any of that?
It's a lovely accent you have there, Mr. Travis,
Hey,
right?
thank you.
Yeah. Welcome to the show, everyone. Bad Crypto Podcast, Joel Com, Travis Wright, and we are here for you apparently around the globe in many countries and some planets, which they're listening to this and thinking there must be alien life forms down there.
Not intelligent life forms, but
Definitely not.
definitely not too many intelligent life forms down here. There are a few, and many of them we have interviewed on Bad Crypto.
The more intelligent ones.
The most intelligent ones we're bringing you.
Some of them have said no.
Well, those are the really intelligent ones.
We won't mention any names like Nick Szabo.
Yeah,
That
what was
was-
it him? He did not want to be on the show.
No. He thought that we weren't taking crypto seriously enough because we invited some people on the show that think differently than he does.
Yeah. So some people don't like to talk to people who think differently.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's okay. It scares them. We will talk to all kinds of peoples that think differently.
That's good. That's what we're going to do.
And we are going to do that. But first, we're going to give a shout out to our show sponsor, Divvy.
Divvy helps you make master nodes, folks. One-click install of this master node. It's a cloud master node. You're able to stake your tokens, and every day that you're staking tokens, you're earning rewards. And so they have this revolutionary one-click installer. It's very fancy. If you have ever thought about master nodes or staking, this is the easiest way. You install it one time, you install your software. It takes less than 5 minutes to do. You stake your tokens, boom. Then you can literally shut off the app.
Yeah, you do. You shut it off.
You don't have to use it. You don't have to keep it on 24 hours a day. It's in the cloud.
It's in the cloud.
It's staking your tokens.
I'm looking up at the sky right now. I don't see it, but it's up there in the cloud.
Well, they're up there in
somewhere.
space. It's up there in the space.
It's beyond the clouds, really.
Yeah, it's beyond the clouds. Remax something.
We're both running these master nodes, and I've got two of them set up. And when I launched the software on my PC, I go, "Oh, look at that! I earned X number of tokens for doing nothing other than running this node."
That's so true. So check it out at divvyproject.org. I believe that's the URL. Check it out.
DivvyProject.org.
And stay bad. Our other sponsor for the show is the Bad Coin.
What is the bad coin?
So many of you have some bad coin from back in the day with BitShares hanging out in that wallet. So go to badcoin.net. You can download the wallet and start mining bad coin. Have our developers that have spent over 1,000 hours on the new bad coin. It's a multi-chain of 5 algorithms, and it allows you to mine crypto on bad computers. Or if you have really good computers, it's just going to throttle you down. You're not going to get very big rewards. But if you have really old, crappy computers, then you might be able to mine some serious bad coin. So there's some instructions on the website. There's also some videos that are being produced to show you how to mine. And you can start mining bad coin. Do it. Badcoin.net. It's the bestest.
Brought to you by the good people at badcoin.net.
Mm-hmm. Not applicable in all states. Void where prohibited.
Terms and conditions might apply. Maybe, we could always quit this job and because it's not a job and go to working for people doing commercial voiceovers. Sunday, US 30 smoke and drag strip where the great ones rock.
We did that whenever we do MC at different events. We did that the other day. And we were introducing a panel. And now the moderator of this amazing panel, sitting in the green chair.
That was pretty fun.
That was good.
All right. Speaking of fun, this is
And speaking of mining,
a kind of a back to basics. You know, it's been a long time since we've done a blockchain, Bitcoin, and mining explainer. And we got introduced to Peter Kent when we were at ETH Denver. He was also in town. He's a British chap, a very nice chap. And he has written books on this. He has training on it. And I love hearing somebody else explain blockchain.
that's really good because he's an older man. So he's got this excellent older British accent, which is quite delightful to hear.
And there's going to be a giveaway here as well. So
There's going to be a giveaway?
Yep.
So what are we giving away?
Well, just you have to
Crumpets?
listen to the, nope, there's not a crumpet giveaway.
Email us at badcryptopodcast@gmail.com. Ask for some crumpets, and you won't get any.
You'll get none. And you
How
can't.
can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat?
I was just going to say that. All right, here's Peter Kent. Well, he's British, but he lived in Texas, and now he's in Colorado, and I'm super confused. But what is not confusing is that he's a best-selling technology author in the Dummies and Completes Idiots series, and he's applying his no-nonsense, geek-free approach to help people understand blockchain and crypto now. His name is Peter Kent. He's got a lovely accent, and Peter, welcome to Bad Crypto.
Thanks very much. It's great to be here.
Could you give us a better demonstration of the delicious accent that you have?
Well, I'm not, what do you want me to say? Do you want my previous English accent or my current English accent?
Let's hear the previous one first.
Well, the previous English accent was much more sort of clipped, and I would actually pronounce my T's. So my name used to be Peter Kent, and of course now it's Peter because Americans don't understand Peter. Well, Texans certainly don't understand Peter. So I had to modify it.
Bloody Americans. We ruin everything.
Two cultures divided by a common language.
Yeah, and a war. A war, too.
And a war.
A revolution.
That's been a long time, though. We forget about that one.
Now you spell like PIDA, like PETA. PETA.
Well, yeah, that's right. So I can't win, especially when I lived in Texas. I would say PETA, and people in restaurants, or fast food places where they want your name, they would write down pizza, Pizza, or whatever. And so I changed it to Peter, and now they write it PITA.
Let's talk about you and your background before crypto. Kind of sum up for us, what you've been doing.
Well, I've been in technology about 40 years. So the late 70s, I was actually working in the oil business, but using computers to monitor drilling conditions on oil rigs, and then actually helping to build the systems. I was working with the development team, software and hardware development, to build the system. So I've been in technology a long time. I've been writing computer books since '86. So I've written about 60 technology books. I'm the only person I know.
60 technology, but Mr. Joel Comm, you got some work to do, buddy.
It's spread out over a few years, like 2 a year on average, I guess.
I feel like a newbie now with my 15 books. This is
15. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, but only 15.
Only 15. Measly 15.
Travis has a book.
I have a book. I have 1/60th the books of you now, Peter. I don't think we want you on the show now, matter of fact. I don't think this is hurting our ego.
I guess we'll have to end it now. It's recording. We might as well continue.
Oh, I guess.
Yeah, carry on, mate.
So where was I? Oh, I'm the only writer I know who is both a dummy and an idiot. And so, I wrote the Complete Idiot's Guide to the Internet back in the 90s. And actually, I did 7 editions of that. And then SEO for Dummies more recently. Actually, they want another edition from me. I'm supposed to start next week. So I'm in both series. I guess I think of myself as a teacher. This has dawned on me just recently. Any of the work I do is essentially teaching. If I'm writing books or I do online courses, I have online courses on lynda.com and udemy.com and my Bitcoin course. I do a lot of expert witness work. So I'm teaching attorneys and judges and juries about technology. So I feel like I'm kind of an advocate for the ordinary guy who doesn't understand all this technology stuff. And my job, whatever I'm doing, and consulting as well, business consulting, essentially I'm taking this technology stuff dumbing it down to make it, I shouldn't use the term dumbing it down, making it simple, breaking it into pieces and helping ordinary people understand it.
So let me ask you this then, since you're dumbing things down, that's kind of what we did with Bad Crypto. We should have called it the Dumb Down Crypto Show. Could have done that. So how do you describe Bitcoin and blockchain to folks who are trying to understand what it's all about?
Well, first off, you can't describe it in a sentence. I mean, it does. You have to take it from the beginning. You know, I take it from, well, what is a blockchain? Well, a blockchain is a database. What's a database? We all use databases, whether you use an Excel spreadsheet or use an email program. Where's your email? It's stored in a database. So what's the blockchain? A blockchain is a very specific type of database that is distributed. It's not just sitting in one place. It's copied among literally thousands of different locations, thousands of different computers. And it's also, for various reasons, it's protected. It's very hard, if not impossible, to hack. And once data is recorded in that database, it can't be changed. Well, at least that's the idea. Depending on well, Ethereum got hacked just recently, didn't it? So, but the theory is it can't be changed once it's in the blockchain. Now, I can explain why it can't be changed, but that takes more time and effort. And I don't know if we have the time to do that right now, if you really want me to do that. But cryptocurrency.
No, I think it's good. We understand the why. It always fascinates me to hear how people succinctly attempt to, say this is what blockchain is, because let's face it, the reason that so many people are confused by it is it's this new thing, right? Yeah. And they're not used to implementing it. So what is this new creature you've brought to the zoo?
Everybody's talking about blockchain, or everybody's heard of blockchain, but very few people really know what it is. And I was explaining to Travis before we started recording, I'm going to Washington on Monday to talk to some groups about blockchain. I think I'm going to be actually giving tutorials, basically saying this is what it is. So, okay, what is blockchain? It's a chain of blocks, not surprisingly. What's in a block? Well, let's talk about the Bitcoin blockchain. A block contains Bitcoin transactions. If I send money from my address to your address, it gets recorded in the blockchain. So one of the things that makes it really secure is the whole hashing concept. So now we get into a bit of technology that most people don't understand. But
yeah, what's a hash? What is that? I thought that was something that Travis smoked. I don't know what that is.
That's probably true, but it's also
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah. So the hash is like a fingerprint. If you take a piece of digital data, take a poem, for instance, and you run it through a hash algorithm, out will pop a unique number. How does that algorithm do it? I don't know. Very few people know. This is the sort of mathematics that a very small segment of humanity actually understands. If you have a mathematics degree, you don't understand how to do this. If you have an advanced mathematics degree, you probably still don't understand. It's really something that's widely used because you can get code that does it for you, but the actual mathematics behind this stuff is quite complex.
But it doesn't matter, does it, Peter? Exactly. It's like I don't understand how that little chip on my Visa works when I shove it into that machine. Exactly. I don't know how that works. It's this little silvery chippy thing, and somehow it works.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to understand. So I tell people this is it's essentially magic, although I have a friend who objects to that. He says, no, it's not magic. It's complicated mathematics. Well, okay, it's complicated mathematics. So I call it mathematics.
It just feels like magic.
Yeah, it feels like magic because we don't understand it. Somebody does, luckily, but we don't need to understand it. So you take a piece of text and you run it through this hashing algorithm, and out pops this unique number. So now we'll come back to the block. You've got a block of transactions. You take that block of transactions and you hash the entire block. So now you have what is essentially a fingerprint, this unique number. It's a fingerprint that identifies that block of data. And it cannot identify any other block. It is truly unique, probably more unique than actual human fingerprints. So now we've hashed it. We've got that number. We add that fingerprint to the block of data. and we add it to the blockchain. We chain these things together. Now, here's how it's actually chained. We then take that hash, so we'll call it block A. We take the hash from block A, the fingerprint, and when we create another block, we put that fingerprint into the next block, block B. So then we hash block B, and we get another fingerprint. So actually, each block contains two hashes. It contains the previous hash, and it contains its own hash. So these are unique numbers. Let's imagine we go down into block A, and we change a transaction. You know, you hack in and you change the transaction. You change it from 1 Bitcoin being transferred somewhere to 2 Bitcoins being transferred somewhere. That fingerprint no longer matches, because all you have to do is change one character in that text, and the fingerprint does not match. So you've now broken the chain of the chain of blocks of data that you have in the blockchain. And so if you can imagine a chain of 100 different blocks, and you change it just one character in the first block, it ripples all the way through the chain. The chain no longer works. It's been essentially broken.
You've broken my chain.
Yeah. So that's one way that the blockchain is secured. Another way, of course, is that it is duplicated. So if the previous one of your podcasts is listening to somebody talking about China and how restrictive China is getting. Let's imagine China decides nobody's going to use blockchain anymore, or nobody's going to use cryptocurrency anymore, or Bitcoin. They want to ban Bitcoin. And they close down all the computers in the country that have Bitcoin running on those computers. What happens? Well, there's another 110 countries around the world that have computers running the Bitcoin blockchain. So you can't just destroy a few servers here and there, or even a whole country's worth of servers. You've got it copied, distributed. Then there's also the consensus concept. Using complicated mathematics, you have a system that the Bitcoin miners are coming to an agreement about what should be added to the blockchain. So that's essentially what a blockchain is. It's a very secure way to store data. It's immutable. You hear that phrase a lot, of course. I know you guys have heard that. Immutable means once it's in there, it can't be changed. As you know, blockchain is not just being used for cryptocurrency. It's also being used for many other purposes. If you have a case in which you need different people are submitting data into a system and everybody needs to trust each other, then a blockchain may be the way to go. And these are called trustless systems, which is a bit of a misnomer. A trustless system simply means that you don't have to trust a particular party to get the data right. So it's not like storing data in a bank. On a bank's databases, you have to trust the bank. But actually, the trust is baked into the blockchain. The mathematics behind running that blockchain is essentially what is building the trust.
Travis, I feel like he's explained it better than I ever have. I don't know about you, but this is kind of like blockchain 101 all over again, because, a lot of people who listen to the show missed the early episodes where we kind of went into what is, blockchain. And here we are a good year and a half or more in, and this is a really good refresher.
Well, thanks. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So you wrote a book on Bitcoin. What was the book called?
No, I created an online course on Bitcoin. I am working with a co-author on cryptocurrency mining for dummies, but as far as the course goes, Crypto Clear, blockchain and cryptocurrency made simple.
Very good. And as we were talking earlier, before the show, you said that you wanted to give away a couple of the courses. Is that correct?
That's right. We're going to do that. So we are going to put up a landing page at cryptoofcourse.com/bad crypto. And we actually have a little ebook giveaway at that landing page. And we'll hold a drawing and give away a couple of memberships. To the
Excellent.
course.
We like giveaways.
What was that URL again?
Cryptoofcourse.
Cryptoofcourse.com. Okay.
/bad crypto.
Well, since you did such a great job of explaining blockchain, you mentioned, you're doing a book on mining. Why don't you go ahead and take a stab? Because I heard about Bitcoin and blockchain probably in 2014 or 15, but because I didn't understand mining, it just seems so nebulous to me that this, your computer, it was ding, 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 mining away and Bitcoins were flying off, that I didn't pay attention for the next couple of years. So I'd love to hear how you explain that.
Oh, wow. Explaining
Yeah,
mining.
but make it
gets
simple.
complicated. So, yeah, I know. Make it simple in one
Well,
sentence.
no, it doesn't have to be one
How do I do
sentence.
that?
I'm good with that. But let's pretend you're talking to somebody who's like, maybe the question is, wait, do you mean I just turn on my computer and Bitcoins spring out? What does this mean?
So, yeah, it does actually mean that at some point, once you've installed the right software and so on, like you, I didn't get into mining years ago. I really wish I had. My son came to me in probably 2013. He said, "Dad, we should be crypto mining." And I just blew it off. It's like, yeah, whatever. I'm busy right now. It would have changed our lives, obviously. So what happens is when you submit a transaction, I'm going to start back at the transaction level. When you submit a transaction to the blockchain, we're going to use Bitcoin right now. So you're submitting it from your wallet. And by the way, I think most people don't understand what wallets are. Wallets are really, they store private keys in their communication programs. The whole system's really like the email system. You have, on the email system, you have mail servers and you have mail clients like Outlook or Gmail or whatever. When you work in your web browser, you're working with, in Gmail, you're working with a mail client. So Bitcoin's very similar. You have wallets and you have Bitcoin nodes. So you sit down at your wallet and you say, I want to send Travis half a Bitcoin. And the wallet sends a message out, and we're simplifying greatly here. The wallet sends a message out onto the network, just like there's an email network, there's a Bitcoin network. So this message gets sent out onto the network and it gets picked up by a miner somewhere. The miner starts by checking it out. It wants to make sure that that the whole message makes sense, and it will check the address that's in there. It'll look to see if there actually is Bitcoin associated with that address, and it checks all sorts of things. There's a big list of things. A lot of it's sort of just syntax. Does this make sense? Does this message make sense? And if it looks good, it adds it to what's called a mempool. It's just a collection of transactions that have been verified, but they haven't yet been added to the block. And then it sends it on to the next node. So it travels through the network from node to node, miners picking it up, putting it in their mempools. And then the miners, now when I say miner, you're not sitting there. You don't have some guy sitting there looking at the computer, waiting for messages to come in and verifying them. Obviously, all this is done with software. And so at some point, yes, you set up the software and all this runs in the background. So what's next? You've got a mempool. So the mining software at this point starts putting together a block of data, a block of transactions. And when it has a block of the required size, it then has to carry out this complicated mathematical game. And this is one of the big criticisms, of course, of Bitcoin. It uses huge amounts of energy, huge amounts of electricity. We've all heard these stories about these the enormous electricity use of Bitcoin, bigger than some small countries. And this is where the energy is going. It's playing this mathematical game. So now you have a whole bunch of miners that are competing against each other to see who gets to add a block next. Now, the game involves hashing the data in the block. Forget about the previous hashing. That's a different issue. This hashing is purely for this little game. And you're hashing the data in the block and trying to see if the number you get out of that hash is smaller than a target that has been set for you in the game, is one of the rules of the game. Now, almost certainly the first time you try, it's not going to be below that level. And so you have to rehash it. But what you do is there's something called a nonce. It's a piece of data in the header of the block. You change the nonce and then you rehash. And again, it probably won't match. So you change the nonce and you rehash. And you might do this hundreds or thousands of times. And at the same time, you have thousands of other miners who are doing this hundreds or thousands of times. Again, this is the electricity use is one of the big criticisms. So eventually, one of the miners will come up with a hash that does actually match the target. It's lower than the target. And so he wins. And he sends out his block onto the network, and everybody checks it. Because the thing about hashing is, it only goes one way. You can't take a hash and unhash it and come to the original data. But what you can do, if I give you data and I give you a matching hash, you can very quickly check to see if that hash does match the data. So it's sent out onto the network, and all the miners say, yeah, this is right. He's won. He can add his block. So he adds his block to the blockchain at that point. And he gets rewarded, and he gets 2 rewards. You know, those little fees you pay when you transmit Bitcoin? He gets to keep those fees. And he also gets the blockchain reward. And this is the mining. I think it's 12.5 Bitcoin right now, on average every 10 minutes or so. And so the miner is rewarded 12.5 Bitcoin because he won that contest.
Does confetti fall like when you win? It's like woo, and streamers and sound effects.
I'm not sure that it does, but I suspect you could. It should, and you could probably program.
Yeah, it should be like yay,
yeah.
and you hear firecrackers, and I mean, you just mined 12.5 Bitcoin. Damn it, be excited.
Yeah, or like the bell in a sales sell
like
room. Ring the bell. Yeah, yeah, perfect.
Very nice.
Perfect.
I also want to say, I like to say that the cryptographic nonce, that's a word that I don't know that we've ever mentioned on the show because we're bad.
Nonce?
And you just went and used nonce multiple times, and you just showed us up on the show.
Isn't nonce a British slang word?
Yes, it has a very different
what does it mean
in Britain. I think it means pedophile.
Oh my!
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry,
So,
I went there.
It's a UK prison classification for prisoners deemed at risk from attack of one another regular prisoners because of their sexual nature.
Oh my!
That's what Urban Dictionary says.
Well, we're always learning here at Bad Crypto, and now you got a little bonus there. Don't be a nonce.
Yeah, but a cryptographic nonce is a little bit different. It is an arbitrary number that can be used just once in a cryptographic communication.
Oh my gosh, that's a much better nonce.
It is. It is. Yeah, it has a very different meaning, and you just use it to change the data. As I said before, when you're hashing something, you change one character, the hash will change, and so you just use the nonce to change the data that's being hashed. But so this whole mining thing, the average person doesn't need to understand it. In my course, I have a description and graphics and everything showing exactly what's going on with mining. And at the beginning of that video, I say, look, you don't need to know this stuff. If you really want to know it, okay, carry on. But you don't have to know this stuff in order to use. There are things you really need to know that people don't. But the average person, even buying and selling Bitcoin, doesn't really need to understand how the mining works.
We want to actually throw this at you, since you're doing a course on mining and crypto and stuff. We, one of the problems that we saw with Bitcoin is the fact that over time, mining can become centralized. You have these sort of really big mining operations in China and other places that have really cheap mining or electricity. And so they mine, they're the ones that are mining most of the Bitcoin. So we realized that. So we created our own coin called Bad Coin. And Bad Coin is a hybrid of 5 blockchain algorithms. It's a multi-chain with some Bitcoin algorithms, Litecoin algorithms, some Dash algorithms, some Monero, I think, thrown in another thing. And what it does is it can be mined by bad computers. As same as if you have a whole warehouse full of computers. If you have a whole warehouse full of computers, you actually get throttled down. And so your reward is much lower than if you have like a Pentium 1 at grandma's house. And so we decided we wanted to make mining fair, because it got to the point where regular folks could no longer mine crypto. And so with Bad Coin, regular folks can mine Bad Coin. Every minute a block is mined. 2,200 Bad Coin are created every every minute or so. And we wanted to make crypto mining great again.
It's crypto mining is certainly in a slump right now. When the pricing comes back up, it will be more profitable, I guess. But a lot of people have dropped out of mining. I think the people who are still mining are people who already had the infrastructure set up and they've already made a lot of money, and they're betting on Bitcoin coming back up. And also, of course, people mine other currencies. My co-author is he mines Monero principally, although he's mined about a dozen different currencies. But I don't know. It's a bit of a slump, the whole mining thing. We'll see. It should come back one day.
One of the problems that people are having as investors in crypto is a lot of times people are buying Bitcoin because, they heard in the media that, I need to go buy Bitcoin, but they're not even really sure what they're getting into, are they?
Absolutely. I've experienced this talking to people who own a little bit of Bitcoin or one currency or the other, and you ask them to explain what they own, and they do not know. People don't know what they own. And that's why so many people get into trouble. I think the two biggest ways people get into trouble, either the exchange where, I was going to say where their cryptocurrency was stored, but exchanges don't actually store cryptocurrency. To be more specific, the exchanges storing their private keys that control their cryptocurrency get hacked, and cryptocurrency gets stolen. The other primary way is people lose access to their private keys. And I think all this comes down to the fact that they just do not understand what they own and how to manage it. And as an example, the whole concept of a wallet, and we've all heard these stories of people losing cryptocurrency. I have a friend, an Aussie guy, who lost $2 million worth of cryptocurrency because he lost his wallet. And of course, there's that big story, this guy in England, I think it was, who he has something like, or at one point it was $80 million worth of Bitcoin buried under a landfill. Well, there's no cryptocurrency in a wallet. So if you've just had your hard drive dumped into a landfill accidentally, the fact that your wallet is in there doesn't really mean much. The money is still sitting in the blockchain. It hasn't moved. It's still there. What it means is you just weren't practicing proper security procedures. And this is not just related to cryptocurrency, by the way. People are really bad at managing passwords and their data related to passwords. And if you have a good process in place to manage passwords and to manage private keys, there's no reason why, if your house burns down and your computer's in it, you should lose your Bitcoin or lose your cryptocurrency of whatever kind.
So true. So true. People who lose crypto are just so stupid.
Well, I'm not going to say they're stupid. I am going to say
I lost $1.1 million worth of Bitcoin. Although at the time,
really?
I lost 55 Bitcoin, but at the time they were worth like pennies each. But it was on a computer that got thrown away because it literally crashed my computer.
You could find solace in knowing that at the current price, you only lost $250,000 worth of Bitcoin.
It's true, but I like to say that I lost $1.1 million worth of crypto now. I'm going to say that. And
it sounds more dramatic.
And then as the crypto gets higher and higher, then I can say that I've lost more.
Yeah. But I wouldn't call people, I'm not saying, these dumb people. I'm saying these are people who need education. These are people who need to understand what they own and how to manage it. And there's no reason whatsoever anybody should lose access to their cryptocurrency, even if the house burns down or the computer gets stolen. There's no reason you should lose access to it.
I was just setting up Joel to make a joke on me, but
he didn't do it, huh?
Well, I kind of did.
A
little bit did. Peter, we really appreciate your time here. The website for you guys to go and get is this the ebook, 10 Essential Tips for New Crypto Investors? Is that what they can get on your website?
Yeah, and we'll hold a drawing for two accesses to the course.
Excellent. It's www.cryptoofcourse.com/bad crypto. And there will be 2 free copies of Peter's new 8-hour video course on crypto called Crypto Clear, Cryptocurrency and Blockchain Made Easy. Thanks for the refresher, my friend. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. I enjoyed it.
And here is the end. Stay bad. I'm not tired. I'm not hungry. Here's the end of the show. Stay bad.
Who's bad?
The Bad Crypto Podcast is a production of Bad Crypto LLC. The content of the show, the videos, and the website is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any decisions as to finances, investing, trading, or anything else based on this information without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional financial advisor. Please understand that the trading of Bitcoins and alternative cryptocurrencies have potential risks involved. Anyone wishing to invest in any of the currencies or tokens mentioned on this podcast should first seek their own independent professional financial advisor.
What does your morning sound like? Hey.
That's Daddy's little man.
Morning, Daddy. Grabbed your usual from Mickey D's.
Here's to making your morning routine a little better with a delicious breakfast from McDonald's.
Start your day at McDonald's with a refreshingly bold, large McCafe iced coffee for just $2. Price and participation may vary for a limited time. Cannot be combined with any other offer, any combo meal.